Hello everyone, guess what? We're all in profit. I am too. Bitcoin is now $110,000. This line was our previous all-time high at 109,900, which it's a level we have not seen since, what is this, January? 19th of January. We finally broken through that. And no signs of stopping as of right now, which is quite nice. Obviously, when we are at all-time high levels, if you bought Bitcoin, you didn't lose money. At least that's what people should be saying by now. I'm going to still draw a horizontal line at this level. Reason why is because I think it will still be important for future resistance levels. Since, I mean, that's technically a significant point. Previous all-time high, which we are currently breaking. Next stop is 112,000 for Bitcoin. I think that is the most reasonable area before we start seeing some slowdowns. We are considered in an overbought territory, so you may or may not want to consider taking some profits here, but no rush nonetheless, because this bull run is, like I said, it was still getting started. I think we're fully in it by now. I don't think the bull run will be over soon. It will last a couple more months, so enjoy the ride while you can, or get off early if you want to. It's up to you. I'm not going to tell you what to do with your money. What I'm going to do is stay holding on to it. I've got my own personal targets, such as 135k, I think is a very reasonable target. Yearly targets, people are saying, like, oh, this is reaching 180,000, 200,000, 220,000 in some instances. I'll keep it conservative for now. I'll have my sights focus on 135,000, and then I'll start considering, okay, where are we going next? Do we still have enough fuel to continue rising for this month? Depending on how fast we get there as well, because, you know, according to other indicators such as M2 money supply, this is looking like we can still keep going with this kind of impulse toward the upside until about August is what it's showing us. So yeah, that's what we got so far. Absolutely rips through these resistances, by the way. So yeah, I do think 112k will be our next stop indeed. Was there any real fundamentals as to why this pushed up? Not really. Matter of fact, we had some bad news, even for the stock market, but Bitcoin still rose nonetheless. So that's still fine. We're good here. Yeah, this is awesome. 3% up today, 110k. That's beautiful. New all-time high levels. Ethereum is also rising, but obviously not as much as Bitcoin is. We're currently breaking out of our first resistance, right? And our current price is 2,595 for Ethereum, up 2.62%. Most altcoins, it will take a while for them to catch on. Usually, I mean, man, Ethereum is very, very far behind. So, I mean, we would expect this to, you know, an alt season to start when when Ethereum hits 4,000 approximately, but I don't think people are willing to wait for that. Maybe by Ethereum 3,000, that is when people will start waking up and start buying into alts a little bit more, although they do say Bitcoin has to, you know, finish topping its cycle first, which, like I said, if this is going until August, I think Ethereum has a higher chance of being at around $4,000 per coin by then, so we'll see about that. For now, the uptrend is looking very strong still. We have got two of them, so it's looking good. Next resistance after we are currently what we're breaking out of. If Bitcoin does reach 112,000, you could expect to see Ethereum at what it previously slowed down at its previous resistance, 2,740 approximately, which is about another 5-6% rise from here. So that's not bad. Solana's at 175, readjusting this uptrend. It's still looking very strong, right? And validation zone would be us dropping below 156, which we did not go nowhere near. So we're looking at a resistance level at 185, we'll call that. And then another resistance at 195. So it's looking really good for Solana as well. Currently testing this resistance. If Bitcoin does reach that 112k, we could easily get a nice breakout of 6% for Solana as well. Similar case to what we see with Ethereum. It's great. Today's a great day. XRP not moving up as much. There's probably some reasons as to why in terms of United States Congress, which we'll be discussing. But for now, staying below this resistance under the pivot level, actually, $2.46 is what we're going to have to see if we can test or break out of. Current price is $2.40 for XRP. After that, we've got a fib level at 250. Also serves kind of like psychologically, right? Easy number to remember. And then the next resistance around 263, 264, 265, whatever. These levels we'll have to determine afterwards. Is this the all-time high? No, this is the $3 mark. Where does the... This is not all-time high either. $3.40. What was XRP's all-time high? I forget. I don't remember if we hit that in like 2018. I'm pretty sure it was like over $3. 2018 or 2021 could have been. I'm blind. I could just check this. From all-time high, $1.43 from our all-time high. Okay, well, I have to do math now. That's great. 143 plus 240 is 383. So that's recent then. No, it's not. 340 was our recent high versus what I just said. 383. So that's about over here, our actual all-time high, which doesn't look too bad as from where we topped out during this cycle in January, right, for XRP. So yeah, still a long way to go for it. It's not inflationary, so I do think XRP will eventually get there, especially in terms of being a good option for long-term holding. I do think XRP would still be a great option. It's still relatively cheap, just put it that way. What's not cheap and what has been performing absolutely incredibly is SUI. Right now it's struggling to get past the $4, right? We see massive rejection from this candle right over here. But we're on our way there still. $3.96 is the current price. Currently testing a big resistance, right? $4 is a big resistance for SUI. After we do break out of that, we'll be able to reach what we previously hit over here from May 12th. And that would be about 430. So after breaking out of 4, we could easily hit 430. It's only a 7% rise. That's absolutely doable in my opinion. A lot of tokens are breaking out right now, 2,600 now for Ethereum. I do think SUI would be able to hit that if we do continue with this, maybe FOMO, short squeezes, enthusiasm, optimism, right? And things can continue rising to their next resistance instantly like that, right? We can see, well, people usually say you will see face melting pumps daily from the altcoins in the upcoming months. So I still think we're relatively early in that sense if you're looking at more of a long-term play. But right now these prices are not that great to enter. Like if you're me, like who wants to grab like the absolute best price, I'd still wait it out a little more. We still have some FUD going on in the background, but it seems like market is completely ignoring that. Some people are even suspicious of this rise. Bitcoin reaching an all-time high under these conditions. Are we sure about that? We'll discuss more in detail about that later. But still, decent day for SUI. Nothing too crazy for it. It's only up 2%. Usually with a coin like SUI, we should expect a lot more volatility from it. Rather, we're getting more volatility from other coins like Litecoin and Cardano, who usually don't move as much. Doesn't seem like they are moving much either way. Litecoin had a nice support level at 92, didn't drop any further than that. From there started rising. I didn't stream yesterday, so it's been a while. $97 is the current price, $97.84. Currently looking to reach 101 for Litecoin. It's up 3.31% today. It's not too bad. And after we break out of 101, 105 is our next stop. 106, sorry. That'll be good. Cardano is 77. Finally, it's starting to rise again. I made 2 purchases in here at 80 and 75. I was waiting for one more at 70, which it did not drop that far low. So only one of them is in profit. I do have like another entry around like 60 something. I don't remember. I think it's this line probably. Knowing me, 66 could be. Yeah. So that one's in profit. 75's in profit. Waiting for 80 to cross. So that one would be in profit. Currently, we're faced with this resistance at 78, but once we do break out of that, 84 easy target for that, another 8% rise approximately. So would be good. Cardano has got some potential, and in my opinion, it's still relatively cheap compared to the rest. cheap in terms of like the fact that it has not risen as much as everything else, right? Look at it at like an Ethereum play, right? All right. Yeah. Bitcoin won 10,000. That is awesome. Don't buy up here, of course. Don't let that FOMO hit in you. You should have already been in Bitcoin, and by now you should be considering taking profits if you really want to. I don't know if you need to buy bread tomorrow. Yeah, sure. But if not, you still trust in the project. You know, you're free to keep holding on to it just to see, you know, speculate how high it can rise. No one really knows how high it can rise, but cyclically speaking, this should still continue going forward as far as August, at least for the near future. That's what we got for now. All right. Let's talk about what's been going on in the White House, talk about some news. Trump had the South African president come visit him today, which, I mean, it was kind of about time. It's also suspicious. I don't know. I don't know if I really trust South African government because of the white genocide that's been going on out there, which Trump finally shed light on. I think it's about time because this has been something that has been talked about only like not publicly, right? You don't see this a lot in the news about the white genocide that's happening. If you don't know, there's a black nationalist movement that is calling to genocide, like kill white farmers, right? That's what it is. They have this political leader that's like, you know, getting people to jump up and down and chant and dance, kill the white farmer. And they actually do that, right? They're killing white people in South Africa, and it's all being overrun by the black people. It's just this race war that's going on over there, which is not acceptable at all, anywhere in the world, really. So, due to that, we have been getting some refugees over from South Africa, white refugees, and, you know, according to South African president, what is his name? I don't see his name. Ramaphosa, Cyril Ramaphosa. He said, Nelson Mandela says, if there is a problem, we must sit down and talk about it at the table. So that's exactly what he did, right? He came, visited Trump, talked about that, talked about trade deals as well was one of their other topics. But the main event, of course, was Donald Trump literally showing this guy and his whole council that came with him videos of all this white genocide that's going on, all this black activism that's going on, and, you know, practically confronting him for that. So, yeah, I'll read through that was my own summary of it, by the way. I'll just read through the thread itself. Media spent years covering up the targeted killings of white farmers in South Africa because it didn't fit their narrative, is what they're saying. He confronted the issue head on, Trump did, beside President Ramaphosa under the bright lights of the live TV. So, I don't think I'll read through all the clips, but like, yeah, this is like kind of the example that's going on. Like, all this, he defended it, not really defended it, but just his explanation for this was, you're free to express yourself in any way you want in South Africa, is what the president of South Africa said. And there's this political movement that happens to be like this. We don't agree with them. We will not let them get into power, of course. So, you know, he basically played it off as like it's nothing, right? But then Trump also shows these videos like, look, those people should be arrested because look how many white farmers they're actually killing. All of these crosses are real, like, white farmers that have died, right? And all these cars are here just like paying their respects from the families of these people, right? What else we got? NBC, of course, just being annoying, asking random questions. Here's also like papers, the receipts is what he said. I've got receipts of people who actually died, right? And Elon Musk, of course, being from South Africa, also personally affected by this in the sense that because I feel like even with this current government that is in South Africa, they're not letting Starlink, they banned Starlink, right? A company from Elon Musk to be operational in South Africa just because Elon Musk is white. Like, that's the kind of thing that's going on. And I have covered the stories like this before, so it's nothing new. Yeah. That's practically it. No good, South Africa. But anyway, hopefully they change. No tax on tips act has finally passed, with a vote of 100-0. That's crazy. Promises made, promises kept. This is one of his big things that he would say at the rallies, the no tax on tips thing. It's finally there. The Genius Act is also another thing I wanted to talk about. So what is this if you're not familiar with it? It's basically a bill that would support stablecoins, right? 16 Democrats ended up changing their vote to support the bill mentioned before. The legislation will now move on to the debate and amendment process on the Senate floor, which will begin yesterday, with a vote on motion to proceed. Republican leaders have been hoping to get in a final passage vote before Memorial Day, which is next Monday. It's unclear if that will happen at the present time. And those are the people that voted. Look who's very happy about this, of course. Elizabeth Warren, of course, not that happy. But yeah. That's cruel. The Senate office, there it is, officially passes cloture vote motion to proceed to the consideration of the Genius Act stablecoin legislature. So there we go. Bullish. Given this, there's now a 96% chance that the US passes a stablecoin bill this year, according to Polymarket. That's great. Also a bit of a falling out with possibly XRP, and this is what I was trying to explain with maybe XRP no good, maybe. Hasn't risen as much as the rest, let's just say. It's because of this, mainly. Brad Garlinghouse, CEO of XRP, said this in a tweet: heading to DC to champion sensible pro-crypto legislation around stablecoins and market structure, and I'm very encouraged to see our elected officials look at crypto as it should be, a multi-chain industry. That said, he's reached out to Senator Cynthia Lummis, who we know is practically in charge of this, chair of the Digital Assets Subcommittee. Apparently, she canceled a meeting with him and won't reschedule. As a leader in Congress and senator from one of the most crypto-friendly states, Wyoming, I'm assuming, I hope you'll reconsider and be a leader for all of crypto. I invite you to join me on an X Space anytime, or a live conversation on stage at one of the many events we cross paths at, to talk about how to make the US the crypto capital of the world, as is the goal of the Trump administration. I will continue to do everything possible to support that goal. Yeah, says the guy that donated to Kamala Harris's campaign, right? A lot of people are just starting to disagree, or I don't know, something sketchy is going on with XRP. There's more about this here. Given this, of course, like, why would Senator Cynthia Lummis cancel meetings and not reschedule them with Brad Garlinghouse with XRP? Seems like she's avoiding the guy, and this has raised speculation that XRP might not make it into the U.S. crypto reserve. The U.S. crypto reserve, by the way, that Truth Social post that was posted by Trump back in March, apparently was, either authorized or somebody from XRP pressured Trump into doing that. So it was kind of like unauthorized was the explanation for it. That person's now fired from the White House or something. I don't know, a bit of drama going on behind the scenes. So, Senator Cynthia Lummis just canceled a meeting with Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse. As head of the Senate Digital Assets Subcommittee, she's supposed to be pro-crypto, right? So why did she ghost Ripple? There's a couple of reasons why we could speculate. First of all, her son-in-law, Will Cole, was reposting stuff that called XRP a fake token and Ripple a centralized joke of a scam. So now people are wondering, is this personal bias, right? Because they think about that. Maybe she only gets to pick her favorites. The whole idea of a U.S. strategic Bitcoin reserve actually came from her 2024 proposal, so it's no surprise she's all in on Bitcoin. That's good. And that's already official, right? We do have a Bitcoin strategic reserve. Now, critics are saying that she is pushing other coins like XRP to the sidelines. What about the XRP ETF? What's going on with that? So it's still stuck in limbo. The Security Exchange Commission keeps stalling on ETF approvals, including those from 21 Shares, Grayscale. Some say it won't happen until later this year, if at all. I do think it will be later this year, though, maybe by the summer. That's not exactly bullish for XRP, making it into any official reserve. So is the US even planning to buy XRP? They haven't even planned to buy Bitcoin yet. So I don't even know. Trump initially named XRP alongside Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and Cardano in that Truth Social post about the US crypto reserve, as I mentioned. When the actual executive order dropped, it was only Bitcoin that made the cut. There was no XRP, there was no altcoins. So XRP's chances of joining the US crypto reserve, between the legal battles, ETF delays, and now political bias, it's not looking that great. A lot of speculation going on there with XRP. But anyways, she's still bullish on Bitcoin, and that's all that really matters. You don't need XRP, you just need Bitcoin, really. Senator Loomis also posted this infographic that shows that 4 in 5 Americans would convert US gold reserves into Bitcoin. And that's what she's been saying, is what she says. Americans are ready to upgrade our reserves. And it's also something that I've called out before. Back when Bitcoin was, I will brag about this until the end of time. Gold was all-time high, 3,500, I think. Bitcoin was yearly low, 75,000. Pretty sure it was. You can check my previous streams. I called this out clearly. Sell gold at all-time high. Sell the, what is it, Fort Knox gold? I think that's what it is. I hope so. And then buy Bitcoin with all that. Won't cost taxpayers any money. You get a huge return. Because look where Bitcoin is right now, 110,000. Like, come on. And yeah, like, really, who cares about gold? You guys don't even do anything with it anyway. And it would also buy a good, sizable amount of Bitcoin. It would also pump our bags, would have pumped our bags back when it was 75K, kind of needed that. We were all kind of suffering about, will it break 74K and below, like 73,800 was the previous 2024 all-time high. Yeah, we were suffering down there, but, you know, if you held through all that, congratulations, you deserve where Bitcoin is at right now, 110,000. Great. So, yeah, and also a lot of Americans, apparently, now own more Bitcoin than gold, right? Roughly 50 million Americans own Bitcoin, and roughly 37 million Americans own gold. The tides are switching. Physical gold is being replaced by the digital gold, right? So, you know, just imagine when this happens globally. It's already happening in the US. Just imagine when Bitcoin reaches the same market cap as gold. It's been mentioned a lot of times, but if you do the math, Bitcoin's price should be at $1 million. If you put all that, what is it, 20 trillion from gold into the market cap of Bitcoin, which is like 2 trillion. Maybe it's 3 trillion by now. Check on this thing, market cap. No, still 2 trillion. Trillion, right? 100,000 million billion trillion. Yeah, 2 trillion. Nice. What's next? Texas has passed their own strategic Bitcoin reserve bill. This will allow the state to start investing in Bitcoin. They're one of the few states that have this, so congratulations to Texas. It's great. They're also the 8th largest economy in the world, and they will now be allowed to buy Bitcoin. That's great. Oh, apparently the bill has passed the Senate. It's not law yet, so it still needs House approval. This aligns with pushing for the US. What? Anyway. And also was going to mention, Bitcoin is now higher than the market cap of Amazon, I think. I could check this like in real time. I don't know why I'm guessing. Amazon's market cap is 2.135, 2.183. Yep. So if you were to plot Bitcoin in the middle of this table, it would be number 4 above Amazon, right? In between Apple and Amazon. You'd just see Bitcoin right over here. Number 1 would be gold, though. Gold has like a 20 trillion market cap. Next is Microsoft, 3 trillion, Nvidia, 3 trillion, Apple, 3 trillion. Then you'd have Bitcoin, 2.8 trillion, Amazon, 2.1 trillion, etc. for the rest. The Mag 7. What is this? Saudi Aramco? I never heard of this. Why is it so... Saudi Arabia National Petroleum and Natural Gas Company. Oh, okay, well, of course. That's why they're rich. Nice. Next. What is this? Today, stock market dropped, but Bitcoin rose. So there's decoupling. Why did it drop, though? And I'll pull up a chart of the S&P 500 just to confirm my findings, if this will load. I invite you to take a sip of tea with me. Forgot to mention the flashbang warning, by the way. Why is this not loading? Is Trading View down? Trading View might be down. Let me go on my phone to check. Why are you doing this to me? No. My phone looks really good. Very good. Alright. Well, I can't check TradingView, unfortunately, but trust me, bro, stock market crashed today. Not crashed, but it was just a small dump. Stocks, everything went down at once at around 1 o'clock p.m. There was apparently a horrible bond auction in the United States for the 20-year treasuries. This means that the percentages rised, right? The yield rose because of the lack of bidders, caused the 20-year bond yield to surge to 5.1%. The credit market is screaming for help right now. There was also rumors that the Fed was quietly just buying up their own treasuries, right? Because nobody would buy them. Which, I mean, where are they going to get that money from? Well, inflation, right? They print it out and buy their own bonds, which caused some concerns in the market for that reason. US stocks are dumping hard, Treasury yields climbing, but Bitcoin did have a bit of a drop because of it. It was this right over here. Like this morning, right? We were getting close to our all-time high. We reached 109,000. That was fascinating. And we were about to hit our all-time high. We were like right there. People were already celebrating a bit too early. Then we had a drop to 106,000. From there, though, we've risen back up and we've broke through that all-time high, and we're currently above it still, 110,000. So didn't really impact it too crazily, but stocks did feel the impact a little bit. Now there's rumors that maybe Trump would want a recession, right? S&P 500 fell nearly 80 points in 30 minutes without any major news. We didn't get any headlines, none of that. What actually happened was a weak 20-year bond auction, which sent the U.S. Treasury yield soaring. And there's a big explanation over here. Comparison with previous times as well, right? What else? I'm not sure there's much importance from here, but this is raising some speculations like maybe Trump wants a recession to happen. A recession isn't good for anybody, but there's a reason behind this. Why would a recession be ideal for Trump? In this case, he wants lower US inflation. He wants lower treasury yields, lower trade deficit through the tariffs, Fed interest rate cuts, and lower oil prices, right? With these bonds, that's the main reason why he stopped the tariffs or put the pause on them, was because the bonds were doing the opposite of what he wanted in order to have, Jerome Powell cut the interest rates. Jerome Powell wasn't budging. And I mean, it turned out well for Powell, right? Because he might have had to raise rates if inflation was continuing to rise. But now, things are not going his way, right? With the bond yields rising, inflation could rise. There's also the stuff with the tariffs in the background. So, if inflation is on the rise, you're not going to get a rate cut. You're going to get a rate hike, which is not what we want. So, yeah. They realize the trade deal headlines won't work anymore. Recession may be the best solution after years of inflation and free money. Probably. I don't even know. That's a whole ordeal. U.S. has also obtained intelligence that Israel is preparing to launch a strike on Iranian nuclear facilities. This also caused a bit of fear in the background, mainly yesterday. This was yesterday's FUD. This comes on the heels of the collapse of nuclear talks between Trump administration and Iran. Seems like they were not able to conclude anything. So now Israel, I guess, just wants to take matters into their own hands, bomb nuclear sites in Iran, and call it a day. But I don't think that's going to work long term. Anyways, we'll see though. And of course, what rises but crude oil after that reports of Israel planning to attack Iranian nuclear sites came out. And Bitcoin still, kind of remained unfazed yesterday. This is not from yesterday. We just chilled over here. Nothing crazy happened to Bitcoin. It seems like nothing is able to slow Bitcoin down. The fact that we've been getting that kind of news, stock markets are dropping a little bit, the decoupling is there, right? Bitcoin is still ripping up and making new all-time highs. Probably has to do with the M2 money supply. And we were here, right? This impulse, I mean, I think we're like in between that right now. Because, I mean, just look at this. This was expected. This is to be expected. Like by the end of May, we were expecting to make new all-time highs already. If you just look at these charts, right? By June, look at where M2 money supply is by over here. We could get a small correction in the middle of June, it seems like. After the middle of June, like toward the end of June, we could still continue rising. Still making new all-time highs, by the way. And there's people with crazy price predictions, like I said. I'm still keeping mine at 135,000, which if we're looking at this, I mean, that's reasonable right over here. And it also coincides with my fib extension that I have drawn at 135,500, right? If you're wondering how I drew this one, I basically took August 5, 2024 to January high to our April low, April 7, Black Monday. And then that drew a fib extension. We're currently headed to our next target at 112K, right? We just broke through this all-time high, so this is our next stop, in my opinion. I don't know if we're going to continue with this impulse to 122K, but if we do, God bless, right? And ultimately, I will keep my target at 135K, because from here, we don't have much else, right? You can ignore the 173. It's just a crazy extension. But I do feel like it's not just going to be green all the way. We can see some choppiness, right? Once we have found what people would consider a fair price for Bitcoin at that time. So as of right now, we just got to wait and see. Very close term, though. I'm looking at 112K. Stop that. All right. Yeah, M2 money supply has just accurately predicted most of this ever since this right over here, like the mini rally that fails, right? The small pump at 75K. Over here we dropped again, and then this just continued rising. Like it just accurately predicted that, which is insane. I'm surprised at how well that M2 money supply worked, the indicator. Also, like this is just a given, the fact that we would hit all-time highs today. I couldn't like share this before, but we have $2 billion being minted at USDT treasuries, which obviously what are you going to do with stablecoins? You're going to buy Bitcoin with that. Short squeezes, those were a thing as well and can absolutely still play out over here. I feel like we did see some effects right over here, short squeeze, right? And maybe another event over here. I still think there's still, can I check? TradingView is still down. Where can I see liquidation heat map? This is from only Binance. 100 million, 13 million. Can I go to 3 month? Yeah, I don't know. Not too many, actually. A couple $100 million getting liquidated from shorts if we do continue ripping upwards. But I thought I was expecting it to be billions at least. Maybe we've already broken through those. Yeah, it's just explaining stablecoin minting makes Bitcoin upper because people buy. Canary filed an updated version of its Spot Solana ETF S1 application. So, you know, that's still happening. ETFs. We're just waiting for those to get approved, right? For Solana's case, it doesn't seem to have much of an impact on it right now yet. Sui's blockchain is performing much better than everything else, right? Toncoin, Optimism, Polygon, Avalanche, and you got Sui just going crazy with a $48 billion decentralized exchange volume this year. More than Avalanche, Polygon, Optimism, and Ton combined. That is crazy. So, yeah, I still have a lot of faith in Sui as well. It will be a top performer in this cycle. I didn't mean to do that. Where's this line from? Oh, yeah, I was going to readjust this. Coincidentally, I was almost right. There we go. That's the uptrend that we should be looking at. This downtrend, broken. Yeah, so we break $4 so we can hit 430. Also, Microsoft Fabric is integrating SUI. SUI says that SUI, Bitcoin, and Ethereum are the first blockchains selected for integration with Microsoft Fabric via Space and Time DB database. This puts SUI's full chain history directly into the hands of Microsoft's vast developer ecosystem. Builder ready, indexed, instantly accessible. That's good news. You know, partnerships. We also have the Pokemon partnership that could be coming with SUI. Robinhood submits RWA tokenization regulatory proposal to Securities Exchange Commission. The plans include launching a compliant real-world asset exchange using Solana and Base from Coinbase. That's bullish for RWA tokens. Great. A lot of adoption just going on. Circle is also eyeing a $5 billion IPO, but they may sell it to either Coinbase or Ripple instead. I'm hoping it's Coinbase. With Coinbase as the likely buyer, yes. A banker shared on Fortune, if Coinbase wanted to buy them, Circle would sell it in a heartbeat. Maybe. It was a $5 billion IPO, but I think they upped the price. I think Ripple did, or I don't know which one of these rose their bid to 20 billion instead of 5 billion, something like that. We shall see. Also, SafeMoon CEO was found guilty on all charges for... I'll let Grok explain. Braden John Caroni, former SafeMoon CEO, was charged for securities fraud conspiracy, wire fraud conspiracy, and money laundering conspiracy following a trial in the Eastern District of New York where he faces up to 45 years in prison for defrauding of investors. I remember SafeMoon. It was launched in 2021, promised locked liquidity pools to stabilize its token, but Caroni and executives misused tens of millions of dollars buying luxury items like an Audi R8 and properties, leading to the token's collapse from a peak market cap of $8 billion, as detailed in court findings. Awfully resemblant of FTX guy, Sam Bankman-Fried. The case highlights systemic crypto fraud issues with the FBI, IRS, and Homeland Security investigations involved and follows a 2023 Department of Justice indictment with co-conspirator Kyle Nagy remains at large after fleeing to Russia. Interesting. Okay, well, there we go. Chainlink also CCIP. I don't know what this means. Canada Certified Inclusion Professional. That's not what it means. Crypto. Cross-chain interoperability protocol from Chainlink. It securely sends messages, transfers tokens, and initiate actions across blockchains. That's why Chainlink is so valuable. It's officially live on Solana now, supercharging the growth of Solana decentralized finance by unlocking access to $18 billion plus worth of assets. Crazy good. Australian, also something with Bitcoin court ruling. The judge in Australia rules that Bitcoin is a form of money, which can make it exempt from capital gains tax. That would be pretty cool if they did that to everything. Although I don't genuinely think that this would necessarily be the case because of the fact that you know forex exists, foreign exchange. You could buy euros, you can buy Japanese yen, US dollar, British pound, etc., right? You still have to pay capital gains taxes on that, whether or not you profit from that. I think the same thing should be with currencies. As much as I disagree with it, but it's going to be a thing always, right? Maybe Australia would revolutionize the idea. That would be pretty cool, and have the rest of the countries maybe look at that, but I don't think they will. But the fact that this judge ruled that would be pretty interesting to see if that develops further into the real world, right? Guatemala's largest bank, Banco Industrial, adopts blockchain technology to power cross-border payments. That's huge. Countries adopting blockchain, right? Well, banks. Honored to support President of the United States from Justin Sun. He's grateful for the invitation from the Trump meme coin to attend President Trump's gala dinner as his top fan. If you didn't know this, Justin Sun is the #1 holder of Trump token, right? The Trump meme coin. If you're not aware, Trump announced Tomorrow would be the day for the top 240 people who hold his Trump meme coin will be invited to a dinner, a very special dinner. And also, there was a chance if you posted a funny meme, you would be also invited. I posted a funny meme, but nobody cared, so I didn't get invited. But Justin Sun was the top holder, and yeah. Tomorrow, Thursday, May 22, will be the dinner with Trump. That'll be pretty cool. I'm not a part of it. I don't have billions yet to hold that token. Anyways, apart from that as well, we will be having the Bitcoin conference happening. What is May 18 plus May 19 plus 8? Oh boy. May 27 will be the Bitcoin conference, and you're going to recognize a lot of familiar faces that will be attending that. Cynthia Loomis, MicroStrategy, Michael Saylor, sorry, Vivek Ramaswamy, no idea. Eric Trump, no, this is Eric Trump, this is Trump Jr., JD Vance will be there too. So, you know, members of government and a lot of, I'm assuming these are CEOs of crypto companies. So, yeah, that'll be in Las Vegas, Bitcoin 2025, May 27 to May 29. It'll be interesting to see. Last year, Trump attended and he got the vote of the crypto bros. So now his administration, of course, has to show up there to, you know, keep us entertained, I guess. So still a lot of bullish stuff happening, right? Tomorrow, Trump dinner. What else is tomorrow? Let me check. Economic calendar. Now, I know nothing happening tomorrow in terms of this. Yeah, this is not going to affect markets too much. I still think we could rise like crazy. Maybe until Sunday. Hopefully, what is Fed Chair Powell going to say? Sunday. Like, come on. 2 p.m. on a Sunday? Really, man? Monday is apparently Veterans Day, if I'm not wrong. I could check my agenda. Okay. September, March, May. May 19. That was this Monday. That was Victoria Day. May 26th, yeah, it's Memorial Day. So U.S. market will probably be closed. It will be closed. Has to. So that's why you're not seeing anything for Monday. Tuesday, durable goods. That's not that important. Wednesday, FOMC minutes. That'll be important. Wednesday at 2 p.m. Thursday, economic data for GDP growth rate. That'll be important as well. And Friday, PCE price index. Okay. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday could be important next week. And then this week, I mean, just look out for Sunday, what Jerome Powell says at 2 p.m. Hopefully nothing too crazy. I think we're still just going to keep rising. There's nothing pulling us down, really. The other stuff, the bad news that I gave you, that mainly affects the stock market, right? The thing with the bonds. And, the, like, Israel attacking Iran, yes, that would cause a collapse in the market if it actually does get carried out. But I really, really doubt it. Like, come on. Like, I don't think Trump is going to let them do that. So we shall see. Pakistan also, more government adoption, right? They've set up the authority to license Bitcoin firms and boost mining with surplus energy. They're becoming El Salvador. That'll be great. All right. I think that is all for today. 43-minute stream. Nice. Bitcoin kind of retracing 109,700. Still 109, guys. Come on. We're still above 100K. Invalidation for uptrend in Bitcoin is at 101. We're still fine. I'm eyeing 112K by hopefully tomorrow. We shall see. All right. That'll be it for today then. Yeah, there we go. Congratulations. Like I said, we've made it if you've been holding on for this long. So, has this candle even closed yet? Let me go back here. RSI 70.43. Yeah, we're technically overbought. You could take profits like above this. And it seems like that's what most people are doing anyway, right? You see the rejection in these candles, right? People are taking profits at all-time high levels. Of course they would. I would do that too if Bitcoin was not Bitcoin, if Bitcoin was an altcoin. Like if we're seeing like all-time high levels for Ethereum, I would definitely be taking profits. Matter of fact, I put like take profits already at like near Ethereum all-time highs because I don't think Ethereum will be as good as it once was. Although there's a lot of changes that happened with Ethereum, a lot of improvements. Yeah, I don't know. There's better stuff to invest in my opinion. And I'm mainly like I've just come to realize the power of just Bitcoin itself. Bitcoin is the leader, the one that matters the most. Um, and Ethereum has indeed made me suffer a lot in this cycle, like a lot. I'd probably be, I wouldn't even say that. I wouldn't say I would be probably like 2 times richer if it wasn't for Ethereum. Like, come on, everybody went down on Ethereum. Whether you like it or not, Ethereum made like newer and newer lows with this recent drop, which is just crazy to see. 1,384 from being $4,000. Yeah, nobody would have expected that. It's a 75% drop. Nothing could have saved you, not even a 2x leverage. Anybody that leverage traded long in Ethereum ever, well, not ever, but like during this bull cycle, not this bull cycle. Yeah, I mean, you get that point. Yeah, you lost basically is the main point. So Ethereum has made a lot of people suffer, I'm sure. I can't be the only one. All right, unless you're a spot holder, of course. Still suffer. Great, that'll be all then. All right, I'll end the stream now. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Have a good night, and I'll see you tomorrow when we are even higher than where we are today.